Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, not really. But I think it's a little delay. But it should be good. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm feeling it. But you should get something active, like DJ's boop, 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 boop. Yeah. Hey. Yeah, I'm looking for someone too. Seconds to go. Okay, sure.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Hopefully you're all doing well and having yourselves a very fantastic day. My name is Jason Joseph, all right? This is Play-by-Play with JJ. We're doing something a little bit different, though, tonight. We got my man from DFJ Hoops. Okay, my man Andre is on here. We're going to be talking about some hoop and just talking about the Sixers tonight. And unfortunately, they weren't able to get the win. But this is a guy who I've been collaborating with. I actually first talked to him literally like live on the air on DJ Eastwood's pod. Shout out to DJ, man. Shout out to Running Back Philly. But, you know, we were doing like a little community panel, and both of us literally decided to join. And he actually told me like the other day that, you know, I wasn't even like going to join until like somebody else came in. So I'm happy that you came in, he said. But what's going on, Andre? How you doing?
I'm doing good. What's going on, JJ? Thanks for having me on, bro.
Oh, no problem, man. Hopefully you guys in the audience can hear him. What's going on, Daniel? How you doing, my guy? Thanks so much for coming on here. Appreciate it.
What's up?
Daniel's always like one of like the first people that's always here. Him and Katie. Bro.
Yeah, I seen him on a couple streams. Couple streams.
Yeah.
Not even Sixer streams, but other streams. Yeah. He's in these YouTube streets, but I mean he's putting in the work too.
Oh, dude, absolutely, absolutely, bro. Speaking of work, well, the Sixers they didn't really put in the work tonight. Well, they definitely didn't get the job done. I will say that. And they looked a little bit tired, especially at the very end. You know, they really weren't able to hit their threes, and Utah had so many turnovers. And it honestly, like, even though without Embiid, it still kind of reminded me of last night's game because they had they held the Knicks to like what, an 8-minute scoring drought last night, or a 7.5-minute scoring drought. And tonight the Jazz just come in so many turnovers, but the common denominator is that both teams, they hit their shots. You know, the Knicks last night and the Jazz tonight. But just your overall thoughts on tonight's game. What do you think went well? What do you think didn't go so well at all?
So for the 76ers, I appreciate you. For the 76ers, it was clear that, playing on the second night on a back-to-back, and you could see their effort, especially what you said in the fourth quarter, where their legs just got heavier. They were not hitting their shots. But from the first quarter, like from the start, you could tell that the Utah Jazz had no no resistance going to the basket, and they kept attacking the basket multiple times, and they were missing a lot of their threes, but they had no resistance in the paint, and that's, we all know, due to Joel Embiid not being available for the 76ers. The Sixers had 3 or 4 players inactive, and that played a huge role as to why the Sixers were not able to come away with this victory.
I noticed that Nick Batum only had 2 points tonight in literally 26 minutes, and he was 0 for 5 from 3. But he did really contribute on the defensive side of the ball, and nobody's really talking about it. And I thought that he did a very good job at just causing a lot of deflections. He got 4 steals. He had 2 big blocks as well. But on a night where Joel Embiid's not playing, this was the first game that we've seen this season, Batum playing without Embiid. And we see how much of a difference Joel makes, because when so many people are coming into the paint to give him a lot of attention, it makes the jobs of the shooters so much easier. And I just felt like tonight was just a big off night offensively, but there's a happy medium because he did so well on the defensive side. But what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, he did cause a lot of disruptions, a lot of deflections. Those deflections did lead to a lot of fast break points for the 76ers. If I look at my notes over here, the Sixers, they had 14 points off of the Jazz's turnovers, and most of them was, because of Nico Batum, getting his hands active and, putting his hands in the cookie jar sometimes. But, he was getting away with, a lot of reach-ins, but he was still, playing defense and, being a huge contributor to this team. Now, he didn't get it going scoring-wise, like you just said, but defensively, he was super solid.
Yeah, he really was. I also... it's interesting to me because I still look back at that trade for James, the James Harden trade, and I just have to say Daryl Morey, that was the fleece of the century, bro. Like, they got Batum, Covington, Morris Sr., a guy that actually had 15 points tonight in 28 minutes, and he just continues to prove that he can be somebody that's that can still score offensively. And I've been a little bit shocked about that. I think that he's given them some very good offensive production. He also had 2 steals and 2 blocks tonight. So defensively, he was doing his job as well, and he had a little spark plug to him, And, we got to see KJ Martin out there, a guy that literally had 9 points, 2 rebounds in 17 minutes. Some of his finishes, man, I can't understand how somebody can be so athletic and so explosive but just misses 3 bunnies. There were literally 3 bunnies that I could count tonight that KJ just couldn't make. And it was a little frustrating just from that perspective. You're a guy that's coming in there and you're trying to fight for minutes because there's a lot of starters that are out. Anthony Melton's not playing, Tobias Harris is not playing, and Joel Embiid's not playing. So you're missing 3 starters, and you would think that, just the hunger for the minutes would just absolutely boost the bench, but it didn't really do that tonight.
Right, and you add that to the fact that Jaden Springer also came off the bench, and he was wide open on those corner threes, and for whatever reason, he wasn't hitting his shots. And he had a couple takes to the basket where I don't know if he was scared. There was one play where it was like a steal, so he had to run the fast break, and he was right in front of his defender, but I don't know if he was scared or whatever, and he left it off to, I think, Kelly Oubre Jr., who dunked it home. And I was like, bro, you could have just went up and finished it and probably potentially got an and one out of it. But I don't know if he was scared because of the missed shots. It got into him. But, I would just say that he has to be confident and just keep shooting. The shots are definitely eventually going to drop. So just keep shooting. Shoot is shoot. And he would definitely find his groove. But I hope he gets minutes because he could be a good contributor to this team, especially with his defense because he's a very good defender. But It's up to Nick Nurse, man, and I don't know if those offensive struggles are going to prevent him from playing a player like Jaden Springer.
Yeah, I was talking about this with DJ the other day because I brought up the question, about the Jaden Springer experience, and I think that at this moment in time, if we're going to a playoff lineup, okay, because we know that the rotations are going to be cut to 8 or 9 players, all right? Right now, the 9-man rotation, if we're talking about like the last 4 guys coming off the bench, it would have to be Patrick Beverley, right? Robert Covington would have to be in there. And then the other guys, it would have to probably be Paul Reed as your backup center, and then Marcus Morris Sr. Like that's, or do you go with Batum? Because the starters probably, this is how I would see it. Okay, so you got Tyrese Maxey, DeAnthony Melton, Kelly Oubre Jr., right? And then Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid, and then I guess coming off the bench, you would have to have Batum, Morris Sr., Reed, and Beverly.
Wait, could you give the starting lineup again? I kind of
I was gonna say that the starting lineup is Tyrese Maxey, DeAnthony Melton, and then you got Nick Batum, Kelly Oubre Jr., Kelly Oubre Jr., Tobias Harris, and then Joel Embiid. And then coming off the bench, like the 9-man rotation, I guess would have to be Paul Reed, Patrick Beverly, Robert Covington, and then that's it. Robert Covington, and then maybe Marcus Morris. You know?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, but I mean, I'm not really confident in that starting lineup. I think I'm really good with the starting lineup that he experimented against the Chicago Bulls with Maxey and Oubre in the backcourt. And then he had Tobias Harris, Batum, and Joel Embiid. And I think DeAnthony Melton is perfect coming off the bench because we do need that combo guard to come off the bench and, give you an instant plug or an instant offense off the bench. Right. And with this Sixer team right here, I think that's the perfect role for him because that was his role last season with Doc Rivers. And in my opinion, he thrived in that role. So I think he should be relegated to the bench. And with him coming off injury, I think bringing him off the bench will be better for him. I don't think you should just put him in the starting lineup because he's going to mess up what the Sixers got going on right now. I mean, the Sixers are 1-2 this week, but I mean, you don't want him to get into a kind of shooting slump to kind of like mess up with his rhythm. So I think with him coming off the bench will be perfect for him.
I want to get into Tyrese Maxey because tonight was just one of those nights where I know that a lot of people on Twitter are probably roasting him because I know how Sixers Twitter runs because, Joel Embiid doesn't play. And so guess what? Tyrese Maxey, people expect him to go for 50 points. And, he had half of 50. He had 25 tonight and was actually 1 for 8 from 3. I thought that he really struggled. But again, I'm totally good with him just continuing to fire the trigger because he's a shooter, shoot. And guess what? This team relies with the way that they're constructed, they need Tyrese Maxey to shoot. So I don't care if he's taking a lot of shots and if he's missing. I care about him taking the shots. We always had Ben Simmons and we had these guys that were just so afraid to shoot. And it actually is a good problem that we're having now because if Maxey is struggling from 3, at least he's taking the shots. I mean, of course you want him to make the shots too. But he had 9 assists tonight. He had 25 points. I thought that he was really aggressive, and he still found ways to get fouled. I would like him to be a little bit more aggressive. But in 42 minutes, coming off of a back-to-back, I thought that he was struggling with his shooting form, but he looked good out there overall. But what say you?
I mean, let's be honest. He's not the only guy that's been struggling from the 3. It's an entire team effort.
Kelly
and I don't know
Jr.
what's. Yeah, I mean, this week the Sixers have been struggling from the 3. I mean, they hit only 6 3-pointers against the Knicks, and they hit 7 against the Chicago Bulls. So it hasn't been a great week in terms of shooting from the 3. But Tyrese Maxey, if you look at the game in the first quarter, he wasn't really going to the basket. No. I mean, the Jazz were kind of playing like a zone kind of defense on him. They were denying him with the ball. And then he was doing a great job, getting rid of it, moving around and trying to get into a secondary action or secondary space on the floor to kind of make space or make additional space for others to kind of operate on the court. And Kelly Oubre was taking advantage of that. Kelly Oubre was being aggressive. He was going to the basket. Paul Reed was also. I mean, I don't like when he dribbles to the. I don't like when he dribbles, but I mean, he was trying to impose his will. I mean, if you want to say that, but
face-ups tonight.
right, and he was hitting some mid-range jump shots, and I was saying to myself, I mean, if they're daring you to shoot it, I mean, why not just let it fly? But don't get jump shot happy. I want you to take it down low and dominate and impose your will down low because they didn't really have anybody to kind of battle with them. They had, I forgot the name of their center, but I don't think he was really any form of matchup for Paul Reed in terms of, keeping him away from the basket.
Yeah, no, John Collins and Walker Kessler really did a great job tonight defensively for the Jazz. And look, they have a lot of I think that the Jazz, like, low-key, have the best bench in basketball. They have a pretty deep team. Clarkson as their sixth man. You got Kelly Olynyk as your backup power forward center. I would take Kelly Olynyk on my team. I really would. I think that he would be a really good backup center or a really good power forward. I would also take Walker Kessler as well. I know he only had 4 rebounds tonight in 19 minutes, but he is a rebounding machine. And if we're looking for maybe a younger version of Andre Drummond as somebody that can help us get by, during the Embiid on the bench minutes, I think that he would be a really good target too. So I think that the Sixers, honestly, like, we were talking about Lauri Markanen and we were talking about Jordan Clarkson, but there's a couple other guys I would take on this Jazz team, man. Like, low-key.
I mean, you're not lying though. I mean, I would take a couple of those guys from the Jazz, but the thing is, you don't want to give up too much to a point where. Yeah, because it's addition by subtraction, but at the same time, you don't want to give up too much. But I mean, the Jazz have a good, decent, rotation guys that come off the bench and give them decent minutes. I mean, Jordan Clarkson, oh my goodness, he was just fantastic tonight. Now his numbers, he was a little bit inefficient from the field, but don't let that fool you because he was going to work, and these guys could not stop him. They could not keep him out of the paint. He was knocking down some. Did he make any? Nah, he didn't make any threes, but he was just going to the basket and getting us a lot of ones. And he's a veteran. I mean, he's been in the league since 2014. This year, 10 for him. So he's a veteran, has experience, and playing against this Sixer team, he really took advantage of them.
Yeah, he did, and he was very aggressive. And I thought that in that fourth quarter, especially when the Sixers looked really tired, he was just taking it right to the cup, and he was also dishing it out left and right. The Utah Jazz, I thought, had better ball movement tonight compared to the Sixers for sure. And you could even see, like, on the stat sheet, Colin Sexton, he had 10 assists. You have Jordan Clarkson with 6 assists. Kelly Olynyk had 4 assists. So the hot potato was just going around so much. And the Sixers, where they really lost the game, was in the paint tonight. Okay, you don't have Tobias Harris. You don't have Joel Embiid. Guess what? Lauri Markkanen's gonna feast, and of course Kessler's gonna feast as well. Olynyk is gonna try to get rebounds, and I really thought that a lot of the smaller guys too were able to just fight for the loose balls, and they just came out with more effort. The Utah Jazz, that was just a credit to them. But I thought that missing Joel and missing Tobias, as weird as that sounds, because he really is like one of their. You have to admit he is like one of their best rebounders, as weird as it sounds. But I think that kind of came back to bite them tonight, and they lost the rebounding battle because of that.
Yeah, it definitely is. And with Embiid not playing, this game shows you Embiid's his importance to this team, and the amount of ground he covers when he plays and when he's actually in the paint, because the Utah Jazz had absolutely no resistance. Like I said before, they had no resistance going to the basket, and they were 30 for 34 at the rim. So imagine how many points they got. I think they got like 70 points in the paint alone. Yes. And they did struggle. They did struggle from the three, but as long as there's no resistance going to the basket. I mean, I can drive to the basket as many times as I want, and nobody's going to stop me. Nobody's going to try to, box me out or anything. I mean, they got a lot of second chance opportunities as well, and they'll just kick it out to the corner, and then Markannen will hit a three. They'll kick it out to the corner, and then somebody hit a three. So the Sixers really did struggle in the paint, and it was evidently that the Sixers really needed a paint presence, and on that part, you can't count on Paul Reed. You can't count on Mo Bamba. You can't count on nobody to be a paint presence in the absence of Joel Embiid.
Bro, Mo Bamba just going up against like Lauri Markanen. He had like that one play like where he went for an and one, and then he hit the two, but then Patrick Beverley got his miss off of the free throw and literally just like leaped up over him and just like grabbed the rebound. And I was like, bro, like how can you not get the rebound and you let Patrick Beverley, a guy that's like 9 inches smaller than you, just leap up over you and grab the rebound?
Yeah, I think it's all about heart. Patrick Beverley has all the heart in the world, and that's something that Mo Bamba lacks. And Patrick Beverley was literally everywhere. Now his 12 points in the first half was that kind of like kept the Sixers in the game a little bit because the Sixers were only down by 1 point in the first half. And that play that you're talking about, I remember that exact play. He got the rebound, he kicked it out to Maxey. Maxey found a cut in KJ Martin, and he slammed it down home, and I was like, oh, thank God, because the Jazz was dunking the ball a lot. I mean, John Collins was getting a lot of alley-oop dunks, and I was like, can somebody get a dunk? And when KJ Martin got that dunk, I was like, finally, somebody's actually applying rim pressure to the Jazz.
Bro, that Collins, like, duo, oh, man, that's pretty good. You know what I mean? Like,
it is so effective.
Between that and honestly, like Oubre Jr. going up against Olynyk, like both of their first names are Kelly. Like that was a broadcaster's nightmare tonight because every time they would match up against each other, I'm like, wait, Olynyk. Oh wait, no, it's Oubre Jr. that has the basketball.
Yeah, and Katie Scott was having that issue too. You could tell, but. It was just funny to hear them confuse those two names like that, just like you're saying.
It is funny. You know, the one thing that honestly was a little bit annoying tonight is that the Utah Jazz, and I have the stats up right here. I have it up on the screen. But where the Sixers, in my opinion, lost the game is the points off of the turnovers. Okay, the Jazz had 24 turnovers. They were, I mean, like, let's be honest, they played very sloppy basketball as a team. Even though the ball movement was great, they just had some really bad careless turnovers, and the Sixers only converted 13 points off of their turnovers. And that is not acceptable, and that is where they lost the game, in my opinion, because Utah was just, turning the ball over left and right, and they were losing the basketball out of bounds, some miscommunication on some bad passes. I remember that Lauri Markanen literally threw one into, like, the 9th row, and, like, a little kid caught it like it was a foul ball. And, at a baseball game. But, like, but it was just that type of night, and the Sixers just could not convert, and they just could not take advantage of that. But that was the one thing that really stood out to me tonight that I was just like, come on, guys. You got to do a better job.
Yeah, and that's one of the most frustrating thing in a basketball game because a team is not, they're having like sloppy turnovers, they're not taking care of the ball, and it's kind of like they're giving you a chance to come back into the game, but for whatever reason, you're not able to convert on these or capitalize on these turnovers, and it was just frustrating, like you're saying. But second night on the back-to-back, I mean, I don't want to make excuses for them. And add that to the fact that they have 4 players out. So that could have been a reason why. And you got guys missing shots, guys missing easy bunnies at the rim, guys missing wide-open threes. I mean, it was just a terrible night, just like you said.
Yeah, it was. But the one positive that I took out of tonight was I thought that Kelly Oubre, man, even though he struggled from 3, I thought that he also kept the Sixers afloat. He had some really good passes in that first quarter. He was trying to get the teammates involved. He got into a little bit of foul trouble, but that's also understandable as well. But he did have 24 points, and he was in attack mode. He did a good job at going to the line, and this was a good game for him, in my opinion. He played 37 minutes. He was 8 for 18 from the field. I thought that he was doing a good job at just driving the basketball, and we really haven't seen that, and that's one of the main reasons why is because when you have the best center or arguably the best player in the NBA, you really don't need to, like, drive it to the basket as much. Maxey's going to have to drive it, and they're really not going to have other guys to do that because then the paint's going to get clogged. But it's just good to see that Oubre still has that in his resume,
Right, exactly. And Yeah, he did have eight free throws. He attempted 8 free throws and converted 7 of them, which proves that he was actually going downhill. He was applying rim pressure, like I was saying, and that was a positive for me because from like what I said from the first quarter, Maxey wasn't really applying rim pressure, but later down in the game, he started to apply rim pressure. But the Jazz did an absolutely phenomenal job, in terms of trying to keep him out of the lane because Maxey's he's just dangerous going downhill because he can catch you off guard, and he's probably the fastest player in the league. So if he gets by you, like it's a wrap. And when he gets to the basket, he's one of the best guards in terms of finishing around the basket. He can finish with his right, with his left, up and under, going anywhere, left to right, English off the glass and everything. So, but Kelly Oubre, yeah, that was a huge positive seeing him apply rim pressure like he was doing.
How do you think Nick Nurse did tonight?
Tonight I can't really put the blame on Nick Nurse because, like we said, it's a second night on the back-to-back, and guys are not making shots. And when guys are not making shots, I don't think it's the coach's fault. I can teach you, if I'm a coach, I can teach you how to shoot the basketball. I can teach you how to rebound. I can teach you how to box out. But at the end of the day, you got to go on the court and make your shots. You got to go on the court and rebound. You got to go on the court and box out. So I'm not really going to put any blame on Nick Nurse, and he had 4 of his guys inactive. So I mean, what more could we expect of him? I mean, he did play some new guys. He played Jaden Springer, KJ Martin, but they didn't give you a lot. They gave you something, but not really anything to help the Sixers win. Now I was expecting Ricky Council, and I think I saw Javonte Smart on the bench. I was expecting them to check into the game, but I didn't really see them, and they didn't play. So I don't know why he didn't play those young guys, but at some point in this game, I just asked myself that why not play Furkan Korkmaz? Because the Sixers, I only asked that because the Sixers was really struggling from the 3. And I'm like, let's go with something. Let's go with Korkmaz because, he shoots threes. He can make threes. Let's see what he got in this, but that was just by the way. But that shows you how the Sixers actually struggled, scoring the basketball.
Is he even on the roster? Because it says that he's not even on the roster, like on the box score.
Yeah.
Well, like Daniel House Jr., I was thinking Daniel House Jr. too. I was thinking that he should have played as well.
Yeah, I didn't see him tonight. I don't want to see him in the game, bro, because because was it against the Knicks? He did some he had some boneheaded plays. He did. Just kind of like killing the momentum that the Sixers were, building. And it was just, I was just like, just get him out the game because he's not really doing anything. He's literally doing cardio out there.
Bro, I have to be honest. I live for the bow and arrow celebrations. Like they're so cool. Like when he's hitting his threes, bro, like there's nothing better than a bow and arrow celebration from Daniel House Jr. You have to agree with that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I'm not gonna lie, but if he's not making shots, then we're in trouble. Yeah,
for sure.
Right.
No, but I was gonna go somewhere else with this, and now of course I forget where I was gonna go. I just thought that overall tonight, this was just one of those games where it was written as a loss. No Joel, no DeAnthony Melton. You're literally missing 3 of your starters. Like, there was just no – and you're coming off of a back-to-back, even though it's not a traveling back-to-back, which I can't stand those. Oh, my gosh. Those are, like, so ridiculous. But even though they were still at home – oh, my gosh. It's just absolutely terrible, bro. But I really thought that tonight was just one of those nights where, okay, the shots weren't falling. They gave up a lot of points in the paint. But there's not really – every time I do a post-game show, I usually try to take things that I – can apply to a playoff game. And there was really nothing tonight that really stood out to me. I mean, it's nice that Kelly Oubre Jr. can honestly attack the rim and he can still take it to the cup, and maybe they could, try to make some more plays with that. But I don't, you're not really going to need those types of things if Embiid's playing 40 minutes. Now, it was interesting to me that Maxey played 42, and I know he had to, but in the playoffs, that's how Nick Nurse is going to be. He's going to stack up those minutes, bro.
His minutes, right. And that's one thing that the Raptor fans were telling us, because he was playing Siakam and Fred VanVleet a lot of minutes in those playoffs. So Raptor fans were telling us that we should expect that. And that should be something that they should be willing to be doing because, I mean, you're getting paid all this money to play basketball. Why can't you play basketball for 40-plus minutes? I mean, especially for a championship. Yeah, sure. I mean, come on. I would be dying for that opportunity.
Well, and not only that, but, again, you know, if you have to rely on a backup center for Embiid to play, like, 15 minutes, which, like, would never happen in a playoff game, but I'm just saying that, you know, you might as well get reps with that now. I was surprised. Right. I was surprised. I didn't see Mo Bamba and Paul Reed out there at the same time tonight, man.
Man, I mean, speaking of this backup center thing, do you really think that the Sixers need a backup center, in your opinion?
See, I was raising this question to DJ the other day. I think that it's starting to kind of, I don't want to say throw flashes, but I did start to question if Paul Reed, okay, is going to be fouling a lot, okay? And if you're going up against Boston or you're going up against Milwaukee and you need somebody, okay, if Embiid's taking a very quick breather and they need somebody to just hold the fort down, I think that they should at least explore that. Now, that's not the number one priority. That would be like the number 3 priority, in my opinion, because they need to have a backup or they need to have another ball handler. You and I both agree about that. You know, somebody that can play off of Maxey and Embiid, and that's why maybe somebody like Jordan Clarkson would be a really good fit. Seriously, he'd be a good guy. I would totally take Jordan Clarkson any day. But it would be on my list. It's just not at the top of my list. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And speaking of Paul Reed, he only had 1 foul in this game. So
I was going to give him his flowers for that in 28 minutes.
Right, that's a positive because we've seen him and multiple times. He'd get like 4 fouls by the second quarter. So just 1 foul in 24 minutes. Yeah, that's a positive for me in my opinion. I'll give him his flowers on that.
I think Mo Bamba caused a lot of fouls because it looked like he didn't want to be out there tonight. It really didn't. I was thinking that he was getting into foul trouble, and Nick Nurse was like, "All right, I'm gonna pull you. Like you look like you don't want to be out there tonight." So there you go.
Yeah, that's true. But I think he was getting called for some questionable fouls.
There were some that were definitely a little bit questionable for sure.
Right, and he was getting fouled himself, and he was getting no whistle, no calls, no nothing, and it was a little bit shocking to me. But you're gonna have to play through it. You're Mo Bamba, you're a backup setter. You're gonna have to play through it, and I just look at him, and I don't know. It's just his facial expression, his demeanor, like his body language is like I just don't feel like being out there, and it really kills me when I see that. It kills me when I see that.
Yep, I know. Yeah, and I'm totally with you. You would want to see more fire, more urgency, especially because guess what? Like you're missing 3 starters out there, and you need somebody else to step up. Hey, man, like I was literally let go by the Orlando Magic. I was selected as the 7th overall pick. I had a song named after me, and now like I'm literally like a backup to the backup center on this contender team. So guess what? The starting center's not playing. I'm going to get some minutes. Don't you think that would fire you up?
It'll definitely fire me up. And add that to the fact, like, if I was him, I'll probably look at this game as an opportunity to earn my minutes and play myself into rotation because Paul Reed, I mean, let's be honest right here, bro. Paul Reed and Mo Bamba, like, if we're being honest, Mo Bamba is the better overall player. But why are we playing Paul Reed? Because, I mean, for obvious reasons. Exactly. So, but I mean, hopefully, I don't know if it's a mentality thing, if people have to talk to him or he's just not in the right situation. I mean, sometimes I ask myself, would he be a different player if he played for the Miami Heat? Because we know the Heat culture and whatever, but I ask myself those questions and I mean, I don't know. I don't know what he's going to be like, but I mean, he's in the Sixer uniform. I do want to see him successful because if he's successful, our team's going to be successful. Our team could, make a deep postseason run and what have you. But, I mean, I hope he can fix that because he's in year 5, year 6, whatever that is. And I believe whatever type of player that you are in year 5, that's the kind of player you're going to be to the end of your career. So I just hope it changes for him, man. Because he has so much potential. 7'1" with his wingspan. Oh my goodness, if he used his hands correctly on defense, like bro, he could lead the league in blocks like almost every single year if you really think about it, and lead the league in rebounds. But we don't know why.
Exactly. Hey guys, we're speaking to Andre from DFJ Hoops. This is my boy. Look, I want to get into grades, okay? And before we get into Sixers grades tonight, I want to hear what your grades are on these tryouts from Jordan Clarkson and Lauri Markanen and Kelly Olynyk. I think that we'll just go in order. So, with Lauri Markanen, what grade do you give him tonight?
With Lauri Markanen, man, I'm not trying to glaze or anything, but I'll be honest with you, I'll give him an A.
I'm giving
not
him
an A plus, but
that's what I'm.
You give him an A plus?
Yes.
I mean, it's very difficult for me to give A pluses, but the highest you can get from me is an A, and I think he definitely earned it tonight. I mean, 33 points, 13 rebounds. I mean, he was making some tough shots. He was getting to the lane. He was being a big body down low. I mean, I'll definitely give him an A.
See, now my question is that if Embiid and if Harris played, okay, obviously the rebounds would be down a little bit more, possibly, and the scoring would have been a little bit different. But I thought that this was a very good test for Lauri because now the Sixers can see how much he really can provide, not just offensively, but just from a rebounding perspective. And he is like the perfect fit for this team, in my opinion. He really is.
Absolutely. I mean, look at his game. Like his game kind of like it complements Joel's game because he doesn't have to clog the lane because Embiid commands so much space in the lane. So he can, he can stretch the floor. He can help you rebound and wise because I believe Embiid needs somebody an athletic power forward that can, grab rebounds for him, that can, guard if necessary and also space the floor and knock down threes. And that's Lauri Markanen basically. So I think he would definitely sit in this Sixer team. And but the question is who?
Oh, sorry.
I mean, let me finish.
Yeah.
Now the question is, who would you give up for Lauri Markanen?
Well, obviously Tobias Harris has to go. If the Utah Jazz, okay, first of all, the Jazz should not give up Lauri Markanen. If they were being really smart, they should build around Lauri, okay, and Colin Sexton, and they should try to build around them. Now, I know that in the West it's pretty competitive, but if I were the Jazz, that's what I would do. But if you get a very good package, then I would consider trading him. I would consider trading, one of the guys like Jordan Clarkson, but if it's only for the right trade package, and that's the thing about Danny Ainge, and you and I both know that when the Sixers do a deal with Danny Ainge, it's usually not so good for the Sixers, but
man, he's the dirtiest player in the game, like I told you the last time.
Yeah, man. I know. But I personally, if the Sixers were to trade for Lauri, okay, I would trade, obviously Harris has to go. I might trade KJ Martin. I would trade a couple of other expiring contracts, and I would give up a couple of draft picks. So I would give up more pieces off the bench. Maybe they could use that money for the following years and just empty salaries and that type of thing. Throw in Furkan Korkmaz, the guy that's the Turkish delight, that's the Turkish all-star who wanted to be traded last year. Like all those guys, I would have them all go for Lauri. So that's and
I think that'd be definitely worth it. But I mean, I don't like talking trades because if I was a GM, I would definitely get fired because I would want to give up my trash for some gold, and that'd definitely get you fired because nobody's gonna want to do business with you. Nobody's gonna want to associate themselves with you or trade with you. So with trades, I don't really do good with that. And I mean, I see some fans, going to this trade machines and whatever,
Sure.
and they put in their trash and they try to get some of the elite players in this game. And
Sure.
I saw that with DeJounte Murray. Speaking of him, the Hawks gave up three first round picks for him. So you think you're giving up Marcus Morris Sr. and Korkmaz and all these garbage players on the 76ers? You think the Hawks would give him to you for those players? Absolutely not. So with this trade thing, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that they might, because if it's with the Hawks are not going anywhere right now. So if they do want to get rid of expiring contracts and sort of start fresh and whatever, then maybe I might consider it, because I want to get another star player, and I know that obviously Atlanta's not really the most attractive place in the world in regards to just recruiting guys to come, but it might be something I would consider if there is no other trade option before the trade deadline, and I'd rather get something valuable for my team moving forward ahead, and if that deals with expiring contracts, then by all means I would take that.
I can accept that, but I just think that they would definitely want some picks.
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. But the trade scenarios that I was talking about, I didn't see no picks. That's why I was a little bit, I was like, nah, it's too true to believe that, the Hawks will actually engage with the Sixers for a trade like that. But speaking of DeJounte Murray, would you want DeJounte Murray on the Sixer team? And
Nah. I think that he's nice, but I don't think that his game fits with Maxey's and Embiid's. He'd be a cool piece coming off the bench, but again, if we're not playing Embiid and if we're not playing Maxey, we're cooked. So
right.
I would maybe consider it if, God forbid, one of those guys gets injured, then maybe I would consider that, especially if Maxey gets hurt or whatever, and if he has to have season-ending surgery, then he's a cool option, but I just don't think that he fits the mold with Maxey out there on the court. I want somebody that can, come off the bench, but a combo guard, and I don't really see DeJounte as a combo guard type of a guy. Does that make sense?
I mean, I see what you're saying, but I think he's a combo guard because he was playing the point in San Antonio, but he came to the Hawks and he's now the two guard. So that shows you some level of versatility, some level of being able to play two positions. But I see what you're saying.
What's his 3-point percentage? He's great.
He's
on
not
the
a
perimeter.
He's not a great 3-point shooter. I think he's probably at 30, 33 or 34%.
Ew.
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Ugh, I would not take that. If he's really shooting that bad from three, I'm not taking that. I need somebody that can catch and shoot and also create his own shot. That's just what I need. But it can also handle the rock and get other guys involved. I know I'm very needy and I'm a little bit hesitant and a little bit of those
so he's at 38%, 39%, but I mean we're still early in the season.
Yeah.
Because he's usually at 34%. That's what he shoots for his career. So 38%, that's a huge increase, but it'll definitely plummet.
I love the optimism.
Oh man.
No, but in regards to Jordan Clarkson, which letter grade would you give him tonight, coming off the bench?
Jordan Clarkson, I'll give him a B. Okay. I'll give him a B. Yeah, just because he was inefficient. Now I know some people don't really care about inefficiency because you're not going to be efficient every single night. I mean, they're off nights and what have you. But I'd definitely give him a B because he came off the bench and he did what a six-man is capable of doing or is supposed to do, which is come off the bench and be instant offense. And that's exactly what he was when he came off the bench tonight against the Sixers.
Got my boy Merrick in the chat. What's going on, Merrick? How you doing, my guy? Thanks so much for coming on here. You're the best, bro. No,
What up?
no, we're just talking hoops, man. We're talking about the Sixers. They lost tonight, 120-109, with no Joel Embiid, no DeAnthony Melton, no Robert Covington, no Tobias Harris, and I think I got them all. But yes, so
No Korkmaz.
Oh yeah. We can't forget about the Turkish delight. There was no Furkan Korkmaz. Also, no Daniel House Jr., but he was just a do not play or a did not play option for a coach's
DNP.
decision.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but no, man, I don't really have like too many other takeaways from this game. I really just thought that they just didn't shoot the three ball well, and I thought that they played very careless at the rim, and they just did not do a good job at getting into the paint and capitalizing on the defensive side. And part of that's because, yes, you don't have the bodies, but it's also, you told me so many times, man, rebounding is all about effort. And tonight, they just looked really tired out there. They really did.
And yeah, I did expect the Jazz to out rebound the Sixers. I mean, it's not. If you didn't think so, then you're probably being hypocritical because the Jazz are one of the best rebounding teams in the league. Now, I'm not looking at the stats or anything, but I can tell that they're probably top 10 because they have some solid rebounders on that team. But rebounding is one thing that Nick Nurse really emphasizes on. Now, I watched his one of his coaching seminars, and he was talking about the two main important things on defense is rebounding and transition defense. But I'm not seeing the rebounding when Embiid is out, and that's when the Sixers have to be a good rebounding team because Embiid is a walking 10 rebounds a game. He's a walking he can just walk on the court and get you 11 rebounds or 10 rebounds or whatever. But this team is not actually boxing out. This team is not actually getting on the boards, and rebounding, just like you said, is all about hustle. And I'm not seeing that hustle on that side of the basketball. I don't know about you, but speaking for myself, I'm not seeing that from this team.
No.
And I know it's early, and the team could definitely make strides towards that goal. I would want the Sixers to be top 5 or top 10 in rebounding. I mean, the Sixers last year was one of the worst teams in terms of rebounding, and it's kind of like the same thing this year.
James Harden was a great rebounder.
Great. Bro, we had PJ Tucker at the 4. He's 6'5", and he was getting you 3 rebounds. Come on, bro.
Bro, we actually had somebody in our starting lineup that we actually defended, and we were always like, yo, you have to wait for the playoffs. Like, you have to see what this guy does in the playoffs. He would literally have 2 points and in literally 35 minutes. And would only get maybe 4 rebounds. He every time he was out there, they just played 5-on-4 basketball. I'm so and that's what makes the Clippers trade even more impressive, in my opinion, is that not only did they get rid of Harden, but they got rid of PJ too.
Right, absolutely. And on top of that, you were able to get some draft picks off of that. That's the fleece of the year, in my opinion. That's the fleece of the season. You're able to trade a 34-year-old Harden and a 37-year-old PJ Tucker, and you got picks off of it. Oh, I'll take that any day.
Bro, I don't even is PJ even the 12th man on the bench now of the Clippers?
Yeah, he barely even plays. He barely plays. And he was, I saw a quote that he was asking for a trade or something like that, saying that he wants to go to a team where he can have a higher responsibility on that team. And I was hearing that the Milwaukee Bucks was interested in that. Now, I don't know how true that is, but I mean, rumors are rumors. But there's some truth to some rumors. Yeah.
Hey, man, look. I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say.
I mean, but let's not get it twisted. For a guard, Harden is a good rebounder for a guard because he's able to get you triple double. So we're not gonna denigrate him on that side of the ball. But in general, he's just not. For a guard, he is. In general, he's not.
No, that's true. Yeah, you bring up a good point.
Yeah.
I wanted to get into grades for Sixers. Who do you think? Who do you think was the best player out there tonight, and what grade would you give our best player tonight?
I have to say Kelly Oubre, off the strength that he was being aggressive. Now I do understand that he didn't really shoot the three ball very good, but I mean, I just love how he was being aggressive, going down the lane and applying rim pressure when Maxey was not doing it. And I believe he set the tone in that area, and that's what allowed Maxey to also generate rim pressure and go down to the basket and earn his points the hard way. So I would definitely give it to Kelly Oubre. He finished with 24. Was it 24 points?
Yep.
24 points, 4 rebounds. I wish he could get like 6 or 7 rebounds again, but I'll take the 4. And he did have 4 assists, and he was in foul trouble. He picked up five fouls, but 0 turnovers. I'll definitely take that. 44% from the field. That's in between. That's not great, but it's not bad either. So so definitely Kelly Oubre was the best player on this. I mean, he played the best, but Maxey was the best player on the floor, because I believe there's a difference between best player or better player and playing better.
Got you. That's an interesting point that you bring. It's funny because like when you look at the plus minus category, the only guy that was in the plus tonight for the Sixers was Kelly Oubre Jr. He was +1. Everybody else was minus. So
that's terrible. That is terrible.
Bro, Jaden Springer was a -15 tonight.
It wouldn't shock me, man. It wouldn't shock me.
Batum was actually -13. But that's interesting. Sometimes it's a hit or miss with the plus-minus stat. Like,
yeah,
I'm looking at the other side, and like Agbaji was literally +3. Like, Agbaji had no points tonight and was just 0 for 2 in 13 minutes, and he was +3.
Yeah. These I don't really like advanced stats, but sometimes I just, put that out there to kind of make a point. But plus minus that, I don't really use that it shows what a player's impact is to a certain degree, but it's not the end all be all.
Right. Yeah. No, you're definitely right about that. Looking at the road ahead, all right. So we play against the Hawks on Wednesday. So that's nice that we have a little bit of time to rest up some guys, and that's great. So after we play the Hawks, then we play the Kings. That's going to be a tough matchup. That'll be at 7:30.
Tough game.
Yeah,
tough game.
and then MLK, and then it gets tougher, man. Like we play the Kings, then we play the Rockets. The Rockets, that's not going to be easy on Martin Luther King Day. It's a 1:00 start. That's going to be a little bit odd. Because of the early games. And then you play the very next day, you play against the Nuggets. So, they have a tough, in my opinion, they have a tough schedule coming up.
It's a back-to-back.
Yeah. I was just going to say that. It's literally a back-to-back. And then Friday you go to Orlando, and then you play Charlotte.
The NBA did that on purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, we've both talked about this. The NBA just does not. They just love giving Sixers back-to-backs, and especially the traveling back-to-backs. Those are their favorites. At least they don't have to fly out to Denver. That's
right.
That's
that would have been a scheduled loss because playing a game, going to high altitude and all that. You definitely lose that game.
And you could definitely hear the critics about Joel Embiid.
Joel Embiid, yeah, right. But it's crazy, man. Embiid, man. But you was ready to say something.
No, I was gonna ask. What do you want to see during these next 5 games from the Sixers?
These next 5 games. So the number one thing that I want to see is I want to see them shoot. Now, for number one, I want to see them give more effort than what they did this week. Now,
sure.
Against the Knicks, the effort was. I think tonight's effort was better against the Knicks for whatever reason. I think how they played defense and forcing all those turnovers, I'll give them the hustle. They hustled more in this game than they did against the Knicks. But one of the things I want to see in the next upcoming games, I want to see them give a lot of effort. I want to see them hustle. I want to see them shoot the 3 ball very good. I mean, they have a 4-day rest. They better get their asses in the gym, work on that 3-point shot, and I better see them, making a lot of threes, because this week shooting from the 3 was horrible. Rebounding was horrible.
Yeah.
Effort was subpar. So I definitely want to see them in those three areas.
Yeah, I want to see more improvement too with the ball movement. I thought that the ball movement was something that was a little bit more stale, especially over these last two games. It seemed like that there were a lot more ISOs and there was not much fluidity in regards to
Right.
just getting guys involved. And again, part of that is because of effort. It's like it all kind of carries into momentum. I think that that's what the bigger umbrella is. I just want them to get into a very good momentum and start off these games with a bang, so that way they can just make a statement out there. I've noticed that over these last 4 or 5 games or so, they just start off so flat. And in the playoffs, that really can't happen. Like, Utah goes on a 10-2 run today to start off the game, and then the Sixers answer back with a 10-2 run of their own, but Nick Nurse was not happy. And he literally called a timeout in the first 2 minutes of that game. And I don't want to see those. Like, I want to see timeouts being used, like, at the 6-minute mark. Like, as weird as that sounds, I don't think it does sound weird, but some people might think it does. But I would really just like to see the momentum go into the Sixers' favor to start off these next 5 games for sure.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And the Sixers is not a team that plays well when they're behind. I think when they come out and they, establish dominance from the start and they continue to be dominant, I think that helps them a lot. Helps them build momentum and helps them finish games off strong. And that's one thing I want to see them improve on too, because when the season started, that's what they were doing. And Embiid will come out and he would be aggressive from the start. And by the fourth quarter, he would just take a seat. And now we did see that against the Chicago Bulls, but I definitely want to see Embiid take a rest in the fourth quarters in these few games that we have coming up. Now I know some of these teams is going to go down to the wire because these are some good teams. These are not walk in the park type teams. Sure. Against Sacramento, that's going to be definitely going to go down to the wire. Against Denver, that'd be a tough game.
And Houston, I think Houston's a trap game, bro. I really do. A 1:00 start on Martin Luther King Day, and that's sandwiched in between the Kings and the Nuggets. I don't think the Houston game is going to be an easy one either. I really don't.
Oh yeah, they definitely want their payback because we had Marcus Morris he put the dagger in their hearts with that 4-point play.
Yes,
and we stunned them without Joel Embiid, so they definitely want their payback. And it's a trap game, especially at 1:00. The Sixers don't really play good early in those, when they have games scheduled at that time. So it definitely is a trap game. But the Sixers would definitely be at home. So, and they have 3 days. They have 3 days in between for that game. But sure. I expect the Sixers to come out with the victory against the Houston Rockets. But it could go either way.
It's true. My boy Philly Halftime's on here. Shout out to Philly Halftime. You can feel free to plug in your link down below too, my guy, for sure. Maxey should have stepped up tonight. See, I disagree because I think that Maxey tonight was aggressive. Okay, he played 42 minutes. I just don't think that the shots were falling. And that's, I thought that his effort tonight was good, but I also thought that he was tired. And I'm not, trying to make excuses, but in that fourth quarter, Jordan Clarkson's just whizzing by him. And Clarkson looked like the Maxey out there that we all know and we all love, but I thought that Clarkson was more explosive going to the rim, and Maxey just lost. He looked a little tired in the fourth quarter, but that's just what I saw. But I don't know. Right. I just thought that Maxey just wasn't making the shots. But what about you?
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, if he says Maxey should have stepped up in this, if you ask me, I think he could have applied more pressure, going downhill,
sure,
and be aggressive in that manner. But in terms of scoring, I don't know if you wanted him to have a 50-point game. I mean, his shots were just not falling. I mean, he was one of 7 from the three.
Yeah,
and against the Knicks, he was 1 of 7 again. So his shots are not falling, and it's not just him; it's the entire team. The Sixers are not really shooting the 3-ball well. So, but we should expect a dominant. I mean, I wouldn't want to say dominant, but very good, maxey coming out with I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out against the Atlanta Hawks with a 30-point game and shoot 55% from the 3-point line because he's capable of doing that.
Yeah, he is. Most impactful player tonight for the Sixers?
Impactful. You answer it first. I'll go after you.
I'm going to say it was Kelly Oubre Jr. because I thought that he really kept them afloat, especially in that second quarter. There were times where he was just driving it right to the lane. He knew that his three-point shot wasn't going to be falling tonight, and he said, you know what, okay, forget about the three-point shooting. If I'm wide open, I'll take the shots, or if the shot clock is expiring, then I will take the shots because, yes, I got to shoot, but I'm going to try to earn my points by taking it right to the cup because our big man's not here tonight and we need more people to just drive it. And I really thought that there was a run and a little spurt that the Sixers had where Kelly Oubre Jr. was able to help them from a momentum standpoint, help them just stay involved, so
right.
He was
I absolutely player. Yeah. I agree with that. I'll say Kelly Oubre too. Yeah.
That's who I would. That's exactly what I say as well. Man, DFJ, bro, we talked for an hour. We definitely killed an hour with this. I did not think we were going to be able to kill an hour with this, with the way that this team played tonight and with no Embiid. I didn't really think that there was really going to be much to talk about, but we kept it.
We definitely did. And it was fun. And with the Sixer team, hopefully they can come out these next few games and hopefully, get some wins because the Sixers are falling in the standings. Or they could fall. Yeah. What seed are they right now?
They're the 3.
Still 3? Okay.
They're still the 3.
Wait, what's
yeah, all right,
who's the 4th seed? Yeah. Let's look at that real quick.
All right, so the 4th is the Knicks. The Knicks are 2.5 games behind the Sixers. The Sixers were actually, as of 2 days ago, were literally like 4.5 games above the Knicks, but now it's just 2.5. So the Sixers
and speaking of the Knicks, I did have some of these Knicks fans, coming in my DMs and they're really throwing shots at me now.
Talk about
it, bro. I was about to drop a video, but as soon as I was about to drop it, I got a notification that DJ Eastwood dropped his video. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna bury these Knicks fans. I'm gonna let y'all rock. But we do see them in about a month, and I just want them to keep that same energy when we play them again at the center.
Yeah. Well, I do have to say that Miles McBride, bro, was cooking us, and Dante DiVincenzo, like the Villanova Wildcats 2.0, were just hitting their shots. They really were. You know what I mean?
They were. And in the beginning, I was kind of okay. Bro, I was kind of okay with McBride making those shots because me personally, I would rather a role player go off than Jalen Brunson or what you call it? What's this dude name?
Dante DiVincenzo.
Now the other best player, the other All-Star,
Julius Randle.
6'8", Julius Randle, because we had him in check. He was 1 of 11 from the field, so we were doing a pretty decent job on him. But once McBride got it going and Dante DiVincenzo got it going and Jalen Brunson joined the party in the second quarter, it was over for the Sixers. And add that to the fact that they made 18 threes and the Sixers only made, 6?
Yep, that was it.
Yeah, they only made 6. And the Sixers lost by 36 points, right?
It did, but it's weird because it was such a goofy game because that was also the same game where the Knicks had that 8-minute scoring drought in the third quarter. And I thought, well, if the Sixers only score like 10 points during that drought, then it's GG because then the Knicks are going to take over in the fourth quarter. And they were literally lending the Sixers a win. They were literally just like, take it from us. And
helping the Sixers helping the Sixers back into the game, but they were just not able to grab that opportunity. But I was trying to make this point from here. The Sixers lost by 36 points. The Knicks made 12 more threes than the Sixers, right?
Yep.
What's 12 times 3?
36.
Well, there you have it. They beat us by 36 points. There you have it.
It's wild too. Tonight, Randall had 39 points against the Wizards.
How does that? I mean, against the Wizards. Okay, cool. All right, cool. Wizards.
Still, 39. Like, that still is crazy. Like, I don't care who they're playing, but, like, still, 39 points. He had 5 assists and he had 7 rebounds. And Hardenstein, man, he, like, cooked Gafford on the glass. 19 rebounds he had, just 8 points. I gotta tell you, that guy Hardenstein is pretty good. And he might match up against Embiid pretty well. You know?
He would.
So
I mean, I said this multiple times. I don't want to see the Knicks in the first round.
No.
Because now I'm not saying that the Sixers wouldn't beat them, but it's going to be a 6 or 7 game series. And 6 or 7 game series would actually definitely drain you. It'll definitely drain you. And in my opinion, if you're a team, you got to avoid that by any means necessary. And the Knicks have good rebounders on that team. Josh Hart came off the bench and he grabbed 15 rebounds. Embiid played more minutes than him, and he only had 10.
Right.
And those rebounds were so impactful for them. So yeah, your shout to them. I mean, they're doing their thing, but
yeah.
I mean, let's be real. They're a first round exit. Yeah, I'm gonna give you your credit. Then I'm gonna be real with you. So
you're funny, bro. Oh man, you cracked me up, man. Always a pleasure to talk to you, man. And thanks so much for kicking it with me. I gotta rest my voice because I've been getting tongue-tied a lot tonight, and I'm still kind of getting used to just talking again after being out for 8 days. You know, I'm trying to get the wheels back under me. You know.
But yeah. You definitely need some rest. But bro, I appreciate you for having me on. Hopefully, this will be the first of many.
Yes.
It's definitely in the pipeline, but yeah, hopefully this will be the first of many. And yeah, I enjoyed talking this, reacting to the post game with you. Yeah, I love your basketball mind.
Thanks, man. That means a lot to me. I wanted to, but before I let you go, you know, plug in everything. Mm-hmm. You know, like plug in the channel. You know, plug in the socials as well. Like, where can people follow you?
Oh, so. As you can see on the screen right there, it's DFJ Hoops, DFJ Hoops, you know, Sixers content creator. But sometimes I try to talk about other things going on in the NBA. I mean, I used to follow the Clippers, so I might drop some Clippers content from time to time. But I'm fully 76ers. And my social media, I only have an Instagram account, which is sincerely.andre. And I think that's it, sincerely.andre. And that's where I'm at on Instagram. I don't have TikTok, Twitter, or nothing.
That's funny. Oh, man. But, dude, thanks so much for coming on here. We're going to get you back on another time for sure. But you're the man. You're the man.
Man, I appreciate you, bro. Hey, keep doing your thing. Keep cooking. Keep your foot on these guys' necks. And, you're one of the best play-by-play announcers out here. So, bro, I appreciate you for having me on. But
don't make me blush. Oh, my gosh, you're making me blush right now. Oh, my gosh.
But, hey, great conversation, bro. I'll talk to you soon. Hey, peace out, chat.
Peace out. All right, guys, that's going to wrap things up here. I appreciate you all so much for coming on for our little hour and 10-minute post-game show. We're at an hour 9. We're going to make it an hour 10 as we wrap things up right now. I love you all so much. We're going to be back on tomorrow for the Eagles game. We'll be on at 4:15. That's when we'll start the clock. Actually, 4:10 because the game starts at 4:30. All right. But anyhow, I will see you tomorrow. That's the whole point of what I just said right now. And I'm signing off. Good night. Lila Tov. Catch you on the next one.